The medical term is DISPOSOPHOBIA, but most of us know it simply as hoarding, which is now recognized as a disability under the Virginia Fair Housing Law. DRYDEN-MASON is a fair housing training specialist who travels the state sharing the facts and the dilemmas involved in what is really a complicated situation. There's more to it than appears on the surface.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And welcome,
yes.
Mally. You've been doing some presentations around the area and have one coming up, so I thought we'd bring that up
first?
Yes, because you do
awesome.
have something in case people are interested in learning more.
Yes, we hold focus forums, is what we call them, and we'll be doing one on November 3rd at the Central Library in Virginia Beach.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
And I believe it's from 1 to 3.
Okay,
yes.
On November 3rd, Central Library in Virginia Beach. Keep that in mind. We'll try to mention it again later on in the interview. Oh, and it's free.
Free.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. You don't have to go where you've hoarded your money and your change in order to get something
exactly.
to pay for.
Yes,
but it'll be very educational. And I found out about Mally through a video, a presentation she gave in Norfolk a little while back. And it's fascinating, interesting, and I think you'll find it very useful, particularly if you have some concerns about somebody in your life.
Thank you.
Yeah. The hoarding definition is what?
Excessive accumulation of things, but it's not just that accumulation. It's the not having that ability to get rid of those things. Okay. And that's the part that is hard, because a hoarder can look at a piece of paper, and it may be an insignificant piece of paper to many of us, but to them, it's an important piece of paper. They may need it.
So part of the challenge is trying to get inside someone's head to find out what they're looking at it as, not what you may see it as. And
exactly.
that's where the conflict can start, not only with family members, but with now the law, which now is stating very clearly that this is not just something you have to put up with.
Yeah, we usually look at folks and say, oh, they're nasty, or, you know, they're just being defiant. They don't want to clean. It's not that. It's that they started out accumulating and it got out of hand. So it's to the point where they first of all, can't get rid of it. Second of all, don't know how to get rid of it. Okay. And it's a very heart-wrenching situation for them.
Yes. And for anybody who might be having to tackle this, indeed. Now, the law states that this is now termed a disability.
Yes. Back in May of 2013, the DSM-5, that's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disability, that is published by the American Psychiatric Association, they stated that they have now classified hoarding as a genuine disability. For years, it was associated with OCD. They find that most people who hoard are only 18% suffering from OCD. The most impact or comorbidity that they found was with depression. Interesting. Yes.
Wow. And depression, of course, is widespread, so there's a...
Very much so.
Yeah, so the potential is there for
yes.
a lot more than we even know now. And the idea of hoarding, we may often feel is a uniquely American experience, but it is not.
They actually have a worldwide hoarding organization, and they do a seminar, not a seminar, but a conference in San Francisco. I was very shocked when I heard about that.
Even you were shocked, huh?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because you would think that it's an American thing because we have so much, but it's not.
Right. And we see it on TV, too, in a more dramatic form and storytelling and such. But really getting down to what it means to someone who may either rent a property, own a property, or rent a larger property to somebody who has this condition. It's changing the game quite a bit.
It has changed the game. First of all, you look at Virginia landlord-tenant, which is not what we do, but Virginia landlord-tenant says that if there is a lease violation, if there's a code violation, then there's a lease violation. And we understand that. Now, how does fair housing play into it? And that's the law that we deal with, okay? And the fair housing law says you cannot discriminate based on someone's race, color, sex, religion, familial status, religious affiliation, or their disability, you know? So when it states that disability is protected under that law, it means that any disability that someone has is protected. So in this case, we're looking at hoarding, and that it has now been determined as a mental disability. Therefore, the law says that you cannot just evict that person because they're a hoarder. What you have to do is work with them. You have to set up a plan on how you're going to tackle the massive amount of things that they have accumulated, and give them time. You will have to present them with a lease violation. And I think in the terminology of the rental organization, they call it a 2130. You have 21 days to modify the behavior, 30 days you're evicted. But in the case of a hoarder and a disability, we now go into what we call reasonable accommodation. And under the Fair Housing Law, a reasonable accommodation is a change to any rule, any policy, any service, or any practice, if that change will allow a person with a disability to have the opportunity to have equal use and enjoyment of their home and the property. So in this case, even though you would evict someone for not keeping up with their housekeeping, because it is a disability, you would work with them and give them more time.
This requires a lot of people to gain new knowledge, learn new things, and this is ongoing. I mean, not everybody knows this, not everybody is aware of it, and not everybody knows what to do and how to go about dealing with it.
And it's hitting a significant amount of the population. They're saying anywhere between 5 to 6% of the world's population.
Wow.
And the world is at 7.2 billion people right now, which you're looking at 432 million people. Here in the United States, about 5% of the population, we're looking at 15 million. And when you compare that to Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's only has about 5 million that are affected by Alzheimer's, so it's 3 times the amount of Alzheimer's.
And we also think, too, that perhaps the person who's hoarding is an older adult, or tends to be.
Children.
Okay, so there are children as well who are considered hoarders, although they may not be renting the apartment, they may be hoarders.
Hoarding. Yeah, you know, stuffed animals. We love to give children stuffed animals, and we say, take care of them. I saw a picture of a house where there were so many stuffed animals that the amount of stuffed animals surpassed the height of the house.
Wow. That's a lot of stuffed animals.
Yes. Plus, you think about the dust and the illnesses.
Right. And there's the health hazards that are involved in it. And any pictures that, I'm sorry, I don't know that we had put them up, but if you had seen some of them, it shows some of the conditions that are encountered when people come in. And these are, you don't dismiss it as something that is their issue. This is something that everybody
It affects everyone, because it can affect your neighbors, because if you have pests, roaches, bed bugs, all of those, the smells. Some of the folks, they hoard animals.
Yes.
That's even worse, because you're looking at animal feces and urine and the smell and all that. So it affects, plus it affects the building, the structure of the building. You know, walls have caved in, floors are falling out, the rotting of these areas. But I think that one of the things that we need to talk about, too, is what causes it. And in many cases, it's a trauma. There's a story of a lady that took her son to the neighbors for babysitting. And one day she got a call that the son had drowned in the neighbor's pool. Okay, so then she's looking to move from that neighborhood because it brought back too many sad memories, and her dog runs out and gets hit by a car, and that dog dies. So 2 traumatic things caused her to want to hold on to everything that she had because she could control those things. But when it came to people, she was very leery about that.
And I hate to say that we're actually running out of time, but I want to leave on it. No, but actually it's a good time to leave, because Mally DRYDEN-MASON is going to be offering a seminar on hoarding on November 3rd at the Virginia Beach Central Library.
Central Library.
And it's from 1 to 3?
1 to 3, yes, ma'am.
Right, and it's free.
Yes,
so if you have more interest in this, you can ask her a lot of questions, too, because I have a million to ask her now. She also has a brochure the Virginia Fair Housing Office has put out. And if you go to, and I'm sorry I don't have this address, but it's fair housing at dpor.virginia.gov. You can download this and get more information. But don't forget that conference, or rather the meeting on November 3rd. And Mally, thank you. This is a fascinating subject. It's very interesting and very important that people know more. So.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for being here. You may have heard of the crime line or 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP, but what you don't know about it may surprise you. Don't go away.